Do you want to be healed? Today's Gospel reading is John chapter 5, verses 1 to 16. And we have Jesus healing this man who's by the pool of Bethsaida. And in this place it says there are multitudes of invalids that are blind, lame, and paralyzed, and they want to be healed because this pool, they believe that once the waters were stirred, and if you would take a dip in that pool, that you would be healed of all your ailments. So there was this one man that when Jesus saw him, he knew at that time that this man had been suffering for a very long time. And Jesus looks at him and asks him, "Do you want to be healed?" And then when we notice this man's answer is not an immediate yes, but he says that I have no one to put me in the pool, or whilst I'm going down, when the water is stirred, there is always someone else who's taking my place and it's gone into the pool before him to receive healing. And yet Jesus says, "Get up, take your bed and walk." And at once that man is healed, and he takes up his bed and he starts walking. So many a times we too in our lives challenges, or when we are faced with addictions, with vices or sinfulness, we find ourselves paralyzed and unable to get ourselves free from these situations. And if we ask the reasons on why not we would want to change, or why can't we do better for ourselves, we have n number of reasons why we are unable to do so. We blame the world, we blame the situations, everything else, and we refuse to act. And then we see when Jesus says, "Get up and take your mat," Jesus' instruction is very direct. We need to get up, rise up from these situations, take up our mat, whatever our problems is, whatever our cross is, to take it up, to own it totally, surrender ourselves to Jesus and take action. When Jesus says walk, it is we need to walk towards developing ourselves for the betterment of ourselves, to move closer towards God. And then when this man was healed, he didn't know who healed him. And then we have the rest of the Jews telling him that it is not lawful for you to take up your own bed because it is the Sabbath, etc., etc. So we see that there are so many people criticizing, pointing fingers, instead of being happy for this man who had been healed after so many years. And then when we see later on in the story that Jesus finds this man in the temple and says to him, "See, you are well. Sin no more, that nothing worse may happen to you." So this same sentence can be used like Jesus is telling us that we too are well. We too are well if we only believe it. And all we have to do is not to sin anymore, so that nothing worse can happen to us. The worst that can happen to us is to lose our soul to the eternal fires of hell. So this is what Jesus is warning us. So every time that you find yourself in situations of hopelessness, when you feel people have abandoned you, cheated you, you feel isolated, paralyzed, burdened by life challenges, you always should remember that God is always ready, there to help you. But healing often begins with a willingness to accept help, with a willingness to surrender yourself to Jesus, and this readiness to listen to Jesus' voice, to what He is instructing you to do. So Jesus is called to rise up is to rise up from your struggles, take up your mat, your cross, and walk forward. Remember, this is a call that Jesus is giving us for you to take action. Don't be paralyzed for years and years in that same situation. Jesus' authority to heal you is there, and it can happen in an instant. Don't let the negativity of your own mind or of the world around you cloud your judgment. So let this be an inspiration for you to change your life around and move closer to Jesus. This is my short reflection for today's Gospel reading. God bless you. I will see you tomorrow.